The film begins with an eerie sight, dozens of top hats scattered throughout a forest. Cutter narrates the essence of magic to a little girl, illustrating the three phases: the ordinary introduction, the extraordinary twist, and the ultimate revelation, using a disappearing bird trick. Robert Angier, known as the Great Danton, attempts a complex transporting trick involving an electrical contraption and a trapdoor, but tragically ends up locked in a tank of water, witnessed by fellow magician Alfred Borden, alias the Professor. The story unfolds through three timelines. Borden, facing trial for Angier's murder, reveals a tangled web of rivalry and deceit. Cutter discloses the origins of Angier's mystical machine, built not by him but by an enigmatic figure referred to as a wizard. In jail, Borden is coerced by Lord Caldlow's solicitor, facing threats concerning his daughter's fate, leading him to receive Angier's diary documenting his pursuit of Borden's secrets. The narrative shifts to Angier's perspective as he journeys to meet Nikola Tesla, seeking a similar machine to Borden's. Despite obstacles and Tesla's assistant Ali's refusal to assist, Angier decodes Borden's encrypted diary. The story rewinds to the partnership between Angier and Borden working for a magician named Milton, performing an underwater escape act. Their amiable bond is tainted after a tragic mishap during a performance involving Angier's wife Julia. The rift between the two magicians deepens, leading to separate pursuits and escalating tensions. Borden's secret bullet-catching act and Angier's undercover involvement in Borden's performance trigger a climactic confrontation that alters their lives irreversibly. Ultimately, the intertwined lives of Angier and Borden, riddled with secrets, sacrifices, and tragic consequences, lead to a fateful and unexpected finale. Angier, determined to regain his reputation after the disastrous trick, confronts the challenge by escalating the difficulty of the act. However, his attempt to improve the disappearing bird trick ends catastrophically when a disguised Borden intervenes, causing the machinery to malfunction, resulting in the bird's death and an injured volunteer. The aftermath leaves Angier's career in ruins. Driven by envy and obsession over Borden's seemingly happy family life, Angier becomes increasingly fixated on their rivalry. His encounter with Borden at a science lecture unveils Borden's personal life, witnessing Sarah and their newborn, Jessica. Angier's jealousy fuels his growing fixation on surpassing Borden, intensifying their feud. Simultaneously, Angier persistently pursues meeting Tesla to commission his own transporting machine. Tesla, immersed in groundbreaking electrical experiments, strikes a deal with the town of Colorado Springs for access to their generators at night for his research. Despite the agreement's challenges and the required investment of time and resources, Tesla tentatively agrees to build the machine for Angier, signaling the potential for a significant turning point in Angier's pursuit of magical superiority. In Borden's diary, both magicians re-enter the stage, each with their own remarkable acts. Borden's transported man becomes a sensation, captivating audiences with its inexplicable teleportation from one cabinet to another. Despite speculations about a double being used, Olivia insists that she sees Borden's bandage stumps consistently, challenging Cutter's theory about a decoy. Driven by the challenge, Angier and Cutter emulate the trick, enhancing it with added showmanship. Angier's rendition involves throwing his hat, walking through a door, secretly descending through a trapdoor, while a double emerges from another trapdoor on the opposite side to catch the hat. They enlist Gerald Root, an unemployed actor, to be Angier's double, despite his rough demeanor. The new transported man becomes a hit, but Angier's hidden role during the prestige robs him of the audience's reaction, leaving Root to bask in the glory, albeit under strict secrecy to safeguard the trick's mystique. Meanwhile, Angier remains oblivious to the mechanics of Borden's version of the illusion, adding to his frustration. As tensions rise, Root realizes his leverage over Angier and demands money, sensing Borden's influence over him. Cutter suspects Olivia's potential betrayal, considering Borden's improving version of the transported man, now incorporating Tesla's electrical apparatus. Cutter persuades Angier to phase out the trick. Root's actions become erratic, leading to a performance where he disappears entirely, causing Angier's fall through the trapdoor, resulting in a broken leg. Witnessing Borden's taunting act, suspending Root and promoting his own show, Angier is fueled by humiliation and anger. In his pursuit of the truth, Angier confronts Olivia, who claims Borden's trick involves a double, using makeup and wigs for deception. However, Angier suspects these items are planted misdirection. To prove her loyalty, Olivia presents Borden's encrypted diary, lacking only the 5-letter code for decryption. Angier and Cutter escalate matters, resorting to the kidnapping of Fallen, Borden's engineer, securing him in a confined space to extract the code for ransom. When Borden comes to the meeting place in a cemetery to get Fallen back, Angier demands to know the secret of Borden's transported man in exchange. Borden writes down one word, Tesla, which will decode the diary, and suggests that he's teleporting using a machine Tesla built. Borden is then told that Fallen has been buried alive, and Angier asks him how fast he can dig. Angier leaves for America to track down Tesla for the second section of the narrative, while Cutter stays behind. He was shot by Fallen in the shoulder while nailing the box up, and doesn't want to pursue the secret of the trick any further. Tesla refuses to meet with Angier, and the latter learns that Tesla has run out of funding and is being hounded by his rival, Thomas Edison. Angier assures Tesla that money is no object, and Tesla tells him in turn that the machine is already being built. Borden's private life starts falling apart. He's having an affair with Olivia, and his wife is drinking because of their deteriorating marriage. At one point, he instructs Fallen to deal with his family while going to see Olivia. He appears to genuinely care for both women. Sarah eventually hangs herself in Borden's workroom after trying to confront her husband about one of his secrets. In Colorado, Tesla and Ali have been unsuccessfully testing the machine they built for Angier. They've zapped his top hat time after time with an impressive electrical apparatus, but the hat won't move an inch. Angier comes to the end of Borden's diary and realizes that Olivia actually did betray him. She was in love with Angier, but since he used her as a spy without concern for her feelings, she knew she didn't have a future with him. She gave Angier the diary to prove her loyalty to Borden, who wrote it for Angier. The last entry in the diary tells him that Tesla was the keyword to decrypt the writing, which is true, but it's not the secret to the trick at all. Tesla never built a teleportation machine for Borden, and Angier has been sent on a wild goose chase. He goes back to Tesla's lab several times, where the scientist insists that he is capable of building a teleporter, but he never built one for Borden. He tests the machine again, this time using Ali's precious black cat. Ali warns Tesla not to harm the cat. Ali, using the cat's beautiful collar, chains the cat to the spot for the experiment, as Tesla thinks it may be a matter of needing something living. The cat does not like the procedure and hisses, but is completely unharmed. However, the cat doesn't move at all, so Angier leaves in disgust. Then the cat is freed and runs out the front door. As Angier walks back through the woods, we revisit the first shot of the movie, a heap of top hats on the forest floor. And this time, there are two identical black cats among them. The machine has been working all along, but instead of moving an object from one place to the other, it creates a duplicate at the destination. Tesla and Ali are amazed, moving from hat to hat and measuring them with calipers. When Angier leaves, Tesla tells him to take his hat. He asks which hat is his, and Tesla, smiling for the first time, says they are all your hat. Tesla and Ali continue to refine the machine now that they know how it works. They have to leave suddenly in the middle of the night when their lab is burned down by Edison's goons. However, in the care of the hotel manager, Tesla leaves a large, trapezoidal wooden box for Angier, containing the components of the machine with instructions and a note. Tesla's note cautions Angier that using the machine is inviting Angier's doom and warns him to destroy the machine rather than use it. Angier takes the box back to England and reunites with Cutter. He's ready to perform again, but this time he's extremely secretive about his methods, hiring blind stage hands and not allowing Cutter backstage at any time. As he demonstrates to an influential promoter, he is zapped with electricity from the machine's Tesla coil, disappears from plain sight, and then reappears up in the balcony, appearing to traverse the distance instantaneously. The show is a hit and Borden is mystified. All he can tell is that Angier's trick involves a trapdoor, but he has no idea what's going on under the stage. Every night, he can see the blind stagehands removing a box from the theater. A few nights later, at another performance, Borden sneaks under the stage, as we saw in the prologue, and watches Angier fall through the trapdoor into the tank and drown. It's clear that Borden didn't have anything to do with it, and he actually tries to save his rival's life by attempting to break through the glass of the tank with a pipe. Cutter runs down under the stage and gets the wrong idea. Borden is arrested. Angier is confirmed dead with Cutter identifying the body. In his prison cell back in the present day, Borden comes to the end of Angier's diary, which gloats that Borden is being blamed for his death. Borden believes the diary must be a fake, until he's called out of his cell to say goodbye to Jess and meet the collector who wants to buy his secrets. The collector, Lord Caldlow, is Angier. Borden is dismayed that he would go so far and involve his child in their rivalry. Caldlow, Angier refuses to help clear his name, and won't even take the secret of Borden's transported man when bribed, telling him mine is better. Borden swears he'll get out and have his revenge, promising Jess he'll come for her. Cutter discovers Angier alive when he calls on Lord Caldlow to offer him the machine, hoping to convince him to destroy it. Cutter quickly realizes that Angier is remorseless about framing Borden. He says he's figured out the secret to Angier's version of the transported man and thinks he's gone too far. Borden has one last visitor, Fallen. Borden tells him what he's learned, gives him the rubber ball he sometimes uses for tricks, and tells Fallen to go live for both of us. Cutter brings the machine to Angier, and as he leaves, we see Fallen arrive to confront Angier. This is intercut with scenes of Borden being hanged. Borden dies just as Fallen shoots Angier. The camera pans up to reveal that Fallen has 2 missing fingers and Borden's face. Angier finally realizes that the secret of Borden's transported man was simple. Borden had a twin brother, and they were switching back and forth between the double roles of Borden and Fallen. One of them loved Sarah, and one of them loved Olivia. They both lived half of the same life, never telling anyone in order to maintain the illusion. In a flashback, it is shown that the unmutilated twin willingly let his brother amputate the ring and pinky fingers on his left hand so that they could make the swaps without anyone telling the difference. Sarah, in a scene we've seen before, is puzzled and worried as to why the wound looks new and bruised again. Borden distracts her by slamming a fist down and saying they can't afford a doctor. Angier, who only ever cared about the glory of wowing an audience, went to far more terrible extremes. In his new transported man, he knowingly created a double of himself every time he used Tesla's machine, and he rigged the trapdoor to drown the one on stage. He never knew if he would be the Prestige or the man in the box. The room where the machine is being kept is filled with water tanks, all of which hold a drowned double of Angier for every time he performed the trick. Several times, he mutters to himself a line we've heard before in a different context. No one cares about the man in the box. Angier falls and kicks over the lantern as he dies from his wound, and the resulting fire ensures the machine and all the evidence are destroyed. We loop back to the trick with the small birds in the opening scene while Cutter reiterates the 3 parts of a magic trick. As Cutter has told Jess Borden, before the audience can clap, you have to make the disappeared man come back. On cue, her father appears to reclaim her. She runs into his arms, and Borden and Cutter exchange nods. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like and subscribe for more thought-provoking movie analysis. Thank you for joining us, and remember, the most resilient parasite is an idea. Sweet dream.